for whatever the year brings. Out with the dated, in with the modern. Experience a bathroom that's as easy to love as it is to clean. Make this your year of style. Contact Camry Glass today and let's start your transformation.
Win one of 100 shopping sprees. Super Mom, Super Dad, Super Wins sweepstakes is here at Passad's The Food King and Bright Ideas. This is your chance to shop, enter, and win weekly. Here's how you can win. Every time you spend $300, you get an entry form for your chance to win one of 100 shopping sprees. Plus, every Saturday during our live draws, you can shop, spin, and win instantly at any Passad's The Food King. Hurry! Promotion ends June 24th and is NLCB approved.
Passad, quality value, that's our way. A real Passad's, we're here to stay. The Food King Passad's.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening, my dear viewers. Welcome once again to another episode of Techno right here on IBN Live. We are streaming on Facebook, we are streaming on YouTube, we are live on so much other mediums including Tego TV. So be sure to view all the programming on those relevant streams. Tonight we're talking a little bit about technology, and we are talking about misuse of technology. Now, of course, everybody knows that technology is here, it's part of our lives, but a lot of people somehow don't know how to use technology appropriately, or in some cases, they misuse the technology. So, for example, a simple thing as a desktop computer or a cell phone. So let's address those two little items. When you have a desktop computer, we can use that item to do many things. For example, browse the internet, do research, do homework, do projects, do work at the office. But one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is that when you have a computer, there is a certain level of responsibility that goes with it. So just as you have most technologies, you have good use and you have bad use, or you have misuse. So for example, you would use the computer as an investment whereby you can do things with it that will be beneficial to both you, the user, as well as others who might get other uses of the machine. So for example, you can type a report, you can print it out, you can give it to your manager or supervisor. You can do homework for your students for school projects. You have a child, you need to do some research, you can use the computer for research purposes, for learning purpose, for even research and then print and then stick pictures and so on in the copybook or the notebook, as the case may be. So those are beneficial uses. But one of the misuses of technology that people tend to use, not everyone, some people do, is they might have a machine and then they might go on the internet, they might look for something that is good, and then unfortunately they might look for something that is not good. So what am I talking about? Sometimes you might see a video on how to let's say plaster a wall, or how to do a repair of a sink, how to fix a pipe. That is a good use. But sometimes you might take it to the extreme whereby you might want to know, okay, let's see how I can best use my computer to scam someone, or to rob someone, or to hack an account. Now, that information is also available on the web, on the internet. And that is a misuse, and of course, some of those things fall under crimes, some of those things fall under criminality. And then you hear about cybercrime, you hear about cyberbullying, you hear about so much other peer pressures and so on with regards to the computer, and likewise with your mobile phones. So for example, we could have a mobile phone that we can use to make a call, send a text message, send a WhatsApp, look at a video, look at something on YouTube. Use it for learning, use it for other things. So you have like a calculator, you have to take pictures, you have audio recordings, you have video recordings, and so much other things you can do with it, including play games and all that. But sometimes where the misuse comes in is you have apps you would download on your phone, and you might have online banking. No problem, you do online banking for yourself. But then sometimes you might be in the care of someone, maybe an elderly person who has a bank account, and then you also handle the online banking for them. And because you have privileges of being able to use your phone to be able to log into their account, see their balances, maybe a system to pay bills online, to be able to transfer funds from one account to another account to again, maybe set up a withdrawal, whatever the case may be. But then sometimes people could set up something whereby they could be siphoning money from a business account or a personal account, or transfer money to someone that you're not too sure about, things like that. And these now will fall under misuse of technology. Sometimes we might have a phone, and some phones have infrared, those infrared sensors, those infrared beams. So you download an app, maybe it will convert your phone into a remote control. With that remote control, you can then take it, go to a public space, they have a television. You might be able to log in and change the settings of the television, change the channel, change the volume, change the settings of the air condition, change the settings on the radio. And these are things, some people might feel it's funny, but it's not good. So the reason why I'm touching on these things, because technology is beneficial once we use it for our own benefit in the sense of positive benefit. But at the same time, you can also misuse your technology. And as I said, I just draw reference to two things, a cell phone and a computer. And we are hoping through this program, better sense will prevail, and many of you will know, okay, you know what? I have a phone, or I have a computer, or I have a laptop or tablet, as the case may be. I'm going to use that for something that is good, that is beneficial to improve my life, to improve the life of someone. And you never know. At the end of the day, we want to be able to do something that is good. So on that note, we're going to show our first clip. And we shift gears a little bit. I'm going to touch a little bit into AI, artificial intelligence. And I'm going to show you some gadgets, maybe about 15 gadgets, that you can buy that is AI-driven, that is available today. Let's take a look.
AI is no longer the future. It is already here and shaping everyday life in powerful ways. From smart earbuds that translate conversations instantly to wearable rings that track health and emotions, these devices are bringing intelligence into daily routines. Home robots, AI sleep systems, recording assistants, and desktop companions are all designed to make life more connected and efficient. In this video, we explore 15 AI devices you can buy right now that show how fast technology is evolving and how the future is already becoming reality. ClawStage. ClawStage represents a new direction in AI hardware, combining compact computing with physical presence through a cube-style system built on OpenClaw architecture. It works as a real-world interface for intelligent agents that can observe, respond, and adapt in real time. Integrated sensors such as cameras, microphones, and motion tracking allow it to understand context and react proactively instead of waiting for direct input. Its AI identity can move across devices including phones, desktops, and the physical unit while maintaining continuous memory. The design emphasizes embodiment, giving the system a rotating form that can face users and express behavior through movement and display. It also supports customizable AI personas and connects with smart home ecosystems for automation. This approach reflects a shift where artificial intelligence becomes physically present within environments, merging perception, interaction, and computing into a unified adaptive system framework. ZensBuds AI. ZensBuds AI is a next-generation earbud system that goes beyond traditional audio devices by integrating artificial intelligence directly into everyday communication. It is built to support real-time language translation, allowing conversations to happen naturally while instantly converting speech across multiple languages. The system also includes a voice-based AI assistant that responds to commands for tasks, information, and navigation without requiring a screen or manual input. In addition, it features a smart meeting function that can record discussions, extract key points, and generate clear summaries for productivity and business use. Designed for both personal and professional environments, it combines speech recognition, contextual understanding, and multilingual processing into a single wearable device. Instead of acting as passive headphones, it works as an active communication tool that helps bridge language gaps and improve efficiency. This approach highlights how earbuds are evolving into intelligent systems that support global conversations in real time. This is a futuristic AI sleep device that transforms an ordinary pillow into an intelligent sleep monitoring system using advanced sensing and real-time analysis. It operates through a specialized pillowcase combined with a compact AI pod placed near the bed, enabling continuous tracking without requiring any wearable device. While the user sleeps, it passively gathers key biological signals such as heart rate, breathing patterns, body movement, and snoring activity using medical-grade sensors. This data is processed by an AI engine that evaluates overall sleep performance and generates a clear morning report with easy-to-understand insights and personalized recommendations. It can also identify potential irregularities in breathing or sleep behavior, helping users become more aware of long-term sleep health trends. An integrated AI sleep coach provides ongoing feedback and guidance to gradually improve rest quality. Additional functions like reminders and family sharing expand its role into a complete sleep wellness ecosystem designed for everyday life. Humane Eye Pin. The Humane AI Pin is presented as a bold step toward replacing traditional smartphones with a screenless, AI-driven wearable device. Designed by former Apple engineers, it attaches magnetically to clothing and operates primarily through voice interaction, built-in cameras, and a laser projection system that displays simple visuals on the user's palm or nearby surfaces. Instead of relying on apps, it uses an AI assistant powered by advanced language models to handle tasks such as calling, messaging, translating conversations, and answering questions in real time. The device includes environmental sensors and motion tracking to understand context and respond intelligently to surroundings. A visible indicator light is used to show when it is active, aiming to maintain transparency in data usage. It connects through cellular and cloud-based systems, meaning most processing is handled remotely. The palm-based laser interface replaces traditional screens with a minimal interaction method focused on ambient, hands-free computing experiences. LumioClaw. LumioClaw is presented as a futuristic AI desk companion designed for screen-free learning in a more natural study environment. It functions as a compact device placed on a desk that uses built-in cameras to analyze physical study materials such as books, notes, and worksheets in real time. Instead of relying on traditional apps or monitors, it delivers guidance through projection-based visuals directly onto the workspace. This allows step-by-step explanations, concept breakdowns, and interactive learning support without switching devices or screens. The system is built around vision-based AI that understands what the user is working on and adjusts assistance accordingly. It also focuses on reducing distractions by removing the need for phones or computers during study sessions. By combining environmental awareness, adaptive teaching, and projected instructions, it creates a more focused learning setup. LumioClaw reflects a growing trend toward embedding artificial intelligence directly into physical learning spaces for more immersive education. PediChat AI Pet Translator. PediChat AI Pet Translator is presented as a wearable AI device designed to bridge communication between humans and pets using real-time sound analysis. It attaches to a pet's collar and continuously monitors vocal signals such as barks, meows, whines, and other audio cues. These sounds are processed through an AI model trained on large datasets of animal behavior, which interprets them into estimated emotional states or intent-based meanings. The system also works in reverse by converting human speech into pet-like audio patterns to create a more interactive communication loop. It responds quickly and improves over time through machine learning, adapting to individual pets and their behavior patterns. A connected mobile application allows users to view translation history, track interactions, and observe behavioral trends over time. Some versions include additional features like location tracking and personalized learning. PediChat reflects an emerging trend in AI focused on interpreting animal behavior through data-driven sound recognition systems. Cozy Time Lumo. A futuristic AI-powered indoor cooking system is presented as a new way to bring restaurant-style grilling into modern kitchens without smoke, fire, or traditional heating methods. It uses infrared optical heating technology that cooks food through focused light energy, enabling faster and more even heat distribution while maintaining a completely smoke-free environment. An integrated AI cook pilot system analyzes food using a built-in camera and automatically adjusts temperature and cooking time based on what is being prepared. It supports multiple cooking modes, including grilling, baking, and tabletop BBQ-style cooking within a single compact appliance. A standout feature is the flavor module, designed to recreate smoky, charcoal-like taste indoors without producing real smoke. The system is built for convenience, focusing on quick preparation and minimal effort in daily cooking. By combining AI recognition, smart automation, and infrared technology, it reflects a shift toward intelligent kitchen appliances that simplify and modernize everyday cooking experiences. Ebo Max Family Bot. A next-generation AI-powered home companion robot is introduced as a fully mobile system designed to combine family interaction, home monitoring, and intelligent assistance in one device. Ebo Max Family Bot is built with an embodied AI system that can see, hear, and analyze its surroundings using a combination of cameras, microphones, and sensors. This allows it to recognize people, pets, and household environments while continuously learning from interactions over time. With autonomous navigation based on VSLAM mapping, it can move through rooms, patrol spaces, and follow specific targets such as pets or family members. It also provides real-time alerts for unusual events like inactivity or potential safety concerns. The robot supports live 4K video streaming and two-way communication, enabling remote viewing and interaction from anywhere. Over time, it builds a form of memory by learning routines and familiar faces, allowing more personalized behavior. It functions as a multi-purpose household assistant combining security, communication, and companionship. Moz AI Desktop Hub 5S. Moz AI Desktop Hub 5S is presented as an all-in-one smart control center designed to act as the main interface for modern AI-powered homes. It combines a touchscreen control panel, AI voice assistant, smart gateway, and media hub into a single desktop device. Built for centralized management, it allows users to control lighting, security systems, sensors, and appliances through one unified interface. The system supports multiple connectivity options including Wi-Fi, Zigbee, Bluetooth, and IR, enabling compatibility with a wide range of smart devices without requiring separate hubs. It also features AI voice interaction, allowing hands-free control of home functions through spoken commands. Additional capabilities include live monitoring, automation of smart scenes, and real-time alerts for connected devices. Designed for desktop placement, it keeps smart home control constantly accessible in daily environments. By merging multiple control systems into one hub, it represents a shift toward more integrated and simplified smart home management. PlaudNote Pro. PlaudNote Pro is presented as a next-generation AI voice recording and meeting assistant designed to convert spoken conversations into structured notes, summaries, and actionable insights. It is a compact, credit card-sized device built for professionals, students, and creators who need accurate and organized information capture. The system uses multiple high-precision microphones with AI beamforming to record clear audio even in noisy environments or from a distance. It can operate for long recording sessions with large internal storage, allowing independent use without constant phone connection. Its AI engine automatically transcribes speech, separates speakers, and generates summaries, task lists, and key points from discussions. It also supports multiple languages and integrates with advanced AI models for better organization of content. A built-in display provides live recording status and quick markers for important moments. All data is synced to an app where users can search, edit, and manage their recorded information efficiently. SWITCHBOT Onero H1. A futuristic AI humanoid home robot is introduced as a next-level step in household automation, designed to go far beyond typical smart home devices. SWITCHBOT Onero H1 is built with a humanoid upper structure featuring arms and hands, combined with a wheeled base that allows stable movement inside the home. It is designed as a general-purpose assistant capable of handling multiple tasks rather than focusing on a single function. The system uses an advanced vision language action AI model that enables it to perceive its surroundings, understand objects, and physically interact with them. This allows actions such as picking up items, opening doors, and organizing spaces. It can also coordinate with other smart home devices, working as part of a connected ecosystem for broader automation. Demonstrations highlight its ability to assist with chores, carry objects, and interact with appliances. This concept represents a shift toward robots that actively participate in everyday household tasks, using intelligent perception and physical interaction. Mobvoi TicNote Pods. Mobvoi TicNote Pods are presented as a new generation of AI-powered earbuds designed to transform spoken conversations into structured digital information in real time. They combine wireless audio with built-in 4G connectivity, allowing them to operate independently for recording meetings, lectures, calls, and face-to-face discussions without relying heavily on a phone. The system uses advanced AI to instantly transcribe speech into text, while also generating summaries, identifying different speakers, and extracting key action points from conversations. This turns long discussions into organized and searchable notes automatically. The device also supports multi-language understanding and translation, making it useful for global communication and professional environments. Recorded data is synced to a cloud-based AI system where it is further processed into documents, task lists, and knowledge archives. With multiple connectivity options, it is designed to stay active in different situations. This concept reflects a shift toward wearable AI tools that act as real-time memory and productivity assistants. DreamPilot Sleep Mask. DreamPilot Sleep Mask is presented as a futuristic AI-powered sleep device designed to improve sleep quality using brain-sensing intelligence and real-time adaptive feedback. It functions as a full blackout sleep mask that integrates EEG technology to monitor brainwave activity during the night, identifying different sleep stages such as light sleep, deep sleep, and REM cycles. This information is processed by an AI system that continuously analyzes sleep patterns and adjusts responses based on the user's condition. Unlike traditional trackers, it operates as a closed-loop system, meaning it can actively respond during sleep by using gentle sensory inputs like sound, vibration, or environmental adjustments to stabilize rest and reduce disturbances. It is designed to support a full sleep cycle approach, helping with falling asleep, maintaining deep sleep, and improving morning recovery. The lightweight, pressure-free design ensures comfort for long use. This concept represents a shift toward active AI sleep systems that optimize rest in real time. Momax OneSense. Momax OneSense is presented as a next-generation AI smart ring designed to function as a lightweight wearable companion for health and lifestyle tracking. It is built with multiple sensors that continuously monitor key body metrics such as heart rate, sleep patterns, blood oxygen levels, and skin temperature. Using advanced motion and biometric tracking, it creates a detailed view of daily physical condition without requiring bulky devices. Beyond standard health data, the system applies AI-based analysis to interpret physiological signals and estimate mood trends, stress levels, and overall wellness patterns over time. Instead of showing only raw numbers, it translates data into simplified insights that reflect emotional and physical balance. The ring also supports gesture-based controls, allowing users to perform simple actions like controlling media or interacting with connected devices. Designed for continuous wear, it offers long battery life and water resistance, making it suitable for daily activities, workouts, and 24/7.
Great. So what you just saw there, those are products that is actually not in manufacture, but those are products that has been manufactured already. And it is available, not from me, but it is available, you can buy. So those are products that I wanted to show you that was AI-enabled, AI-controlled, and some of those gadgets, as you can see, that enables a smart home to be operational. We take a little break, and when we come back, we have some more technology and technology products to show you. Stay tuned.
Win one of 100 shopping sprees. Super Mom, Super Dad, Super Wins sweepstakes is here at Passad's The Food King and Bright Ideas. This is your chance to shop, enter, and win weekly. Here's how you can win. Every time you spend $300, you get an entry form for your chance to win one of 100 shopping sprees. Plus, every Saturday during our live draws, you can shop, spin, and win instantly at any Passad's The Food King. Hurry! Promotion ends June 24th and is NLCB approved.
Persad, quality value, that's our way. A real Persad's, we're here to stay. The Food King Persad's.
نغلط ونقول بكرة نتوب وبكرة منتوب نلقى نفسي ضعف
Dhul Hijjah is here and time is running out. Did you know with Penny Appeal Canada, you can perform your Qurbani in India for just $55? Imagine how many families could benefit from that. But the time is now. Get your Qurbani done as soon as possible. That will give Penny Appeal enough time to distribute this to all those in need. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. Allahumma ameen.
When the moment comes to honor a loved one, compassion, dignity, and faith matter most. Come to Shyam's Islamic Funeral Services Limited. We provide trusted Islamic funeral and burial services, grounded in tradition and handled with care. From ghusl and shrouding to transportation, janaza coordination, burial arrangements, and special international repatriation services of your loved ones. With professionalism, with respect, with heart. Shyam's Islamic Funeral Services Limited, serving our community with honor.
It's time for mid-month savings at Southern Food Baskets. Fine Choice Calypso Pack, $15.95. Fine Choice Economy Pack, $31.95. Perdix Chicken Nuggets, 300 grams, $19.95. Crown Parboiled Rice, 8 kg, $69.95. Swiss Pasta Cuts, 300 grams, for $19.95. No Name Toilet Paper, 2 pails for $89.95. Coca-Cola, Sprite, Schweppes 2 liter, 2 for $19.95. Richport Tuna Flakes in Water, 3 pack, $14.95. Diamond Foil, 25 feet, 2 for $19.95. Clorox 1 gallon, $31.95. Hurry in today and stock up for less at Southern Food Baskets, where big savings meet everyday value.
Welcome back once again to Techno right here on IBN. I am your host, Dr. Shahansha Ali Qasim. And right before we went on the break, we were showing you some of the gadgets that is AI controlled and AI enabled that you can buy. But do you know that our world, our digital world, is run by so much of advanced technologies that we sometimes take for granted? Well, my next clip I'm going to show you, it's some of the digital devices, the engineering that actually runs our digital world. Let's take a look.
Inside every desktop computer, smartphone, gaming console, laptop, or practically any other device you use on a daily basis is a CPU, or Central Processing Unit. And in this video, we're going to see how they work. A typical processor for a powerful laptop like this one is built from billions of nanoscopic transistors connected together using dozens of layers of wires, and is essentially the brain of the device. But before we explore the microprocessor and all its complexity, let's travel to the early days of personal computers and video game consoles and compare the Apple IIe from 1983 to the modern-day MacBook Pro. Inside the Apple IIe, we find a chip called a 6502, which is considered one of the great-grandparents of all modern processors. This chip is built from 4,528 transistors and can perform around 430,000 calculations a second. While it could only run primitive applications in video games with simple graphics, this chip was the backbone of a generation of early computers and video game consoles, such as the NES, the Commodore 64, and the Atari. Compare that to the MacBook Pro's M1 processor, which is built from 16 billion transistors capable of performing around 3 trillion calculations a second, thus enabling it to generate expansive 3D worlds with immersive graphics. Despite these two chips being released around 45 years apart, the underlying principles of how they work are rather similar. In a way, you can think of these devices as sharing a common section of technological DNA. In fact, if we were to open up a desktop computer and grab the CPU or the GPU inside the graphics card, or tear down a Nintendo Switch or smartphone and find the system on a chip or SoC, or even if you could make your way into an AI data center and grab a state-of-the-art AI chip, you'd find that all of these processors operate using the same underlying principles. In other words, both the Oregon Trail of 50 years ago and advanced AI algorithms run on processors with similar technological DNA. But of course, one of these chips is 10 billion times more computationally powerful than the other. So in this video, we're going to take apart this microprocessor and find out exactly what the shared technological DNA is and how it enables CPUs to work. And just to be clear, the technological DNA is not transistors and it's not logic gates, but rather it's an architectural design and basic operational principle that's fundamental to microprocessors and differentiates these chips from other integrated circuits. So stick around and let's dive right in. This video is sponsored by Brilliant. Let's begin with a quick 3D animated teardown of this MacBook Pro. When we open it up, we find a range of different components such as the touchpad, battery cells, speakers, a cooling fan, and the motherboard in the center. Mounted to the motherboard are the solid-state drive or SSD storage chips, where all your files are saved, and a range of other chips. Underneath the heat pipe, we find the DRAM, which is the short-term working memory and central processing unit. Let's desolder the DRAM and CPU and open it up. Inside, we find 3 parts. On the top is a protective cover that conducts and dissipates heat. On the bottom is an interposer with thousands of connection points on either side and wires running inside of it. And soldered onto the interposer is the integrated circuit, or IC, which is also called a die, and is the functional part of the CPU. On the die, we can see the complex design of billions of transistors and wires organized into different sections, such as the 4 high-performance computational cores, 4 energy-efficient cores, graphics processing cores, cache memory, and many other sections. Let's zoom in on one of the performance cores, where we find that it's separated into different functional blocks, which we'll add labels to and then reorganize into an architectural diagram. This diagram illustrates how data and instructions move around a single processing core in the CPU, and, although it's rather complicated, you'll understand how it works by the end of this video. But for now, let's zoom in even further to get a nanoscopic view of a massive multi-layer labyrinth of wires with the transistors at the very bottom. Here we see a group of 6 transistors that are wired together to build an AND logic gate. And in this view, we can see around 650 transistors out of the total 16 billion that make up the overall chip. Understanding how billions of transistors work together to build a CPU capable of playing video games, watching movies, or browsing the internet will take a bit of work. So let's start with an analogy. You may have heard that CPUs are like super powerful calculators. This analogy is only around 20% complete, as it's missing some critical parts. So let's add them in to make a more accurate analogy. First, we'll add a table for the calculator to sit on, along with a pencil and a sheet of paper. Next, we'll add rows and rows of bookshelves containing thousands of books, along with a cart that can carry a small stack of books between the shelves and the table. And finally, we'll add an automated robot, which we'll call a control unit or controller. The controller can grab books from the bookshelves, move them to the cart and onto the table, and it can put them back. The controller can also read the contents of each book, write on the paper and in the books, and use the calculator. You can think of the controller as a super fast human, but we're bad at animating humans, so it's a robot instead. And with that, we have all the parts for our analogy. Now, let's see how each part of our CPU analogy works. To start, the bookshelves are the storage devices in your computer, such as the SSD chips. The cart represents the DRAM, and the table and its contents represent the CPU. On the CPU table, there's a small space for a single open book, which is similar to the very limited capacity of the cache memory inside the CPU itself. Next, the single sheet of paper represents the registers which are used for storing values or numbers that are actively being used. Specifically, on it are 4 general-purpose registers and a few more special locations which we'll discuss in a little bit. Additionally, the pencil is there to write and erase things on the paper and in the books. Finally, the calculator represents the arithmetic logic unit, or ALU. This ALU calculator works using binary, so there are only the digits 0 and 1, and it can do simple functions like add, subtract, or multiply two numbers. The ALU calculator has many more functions that you may be unfamiliar with, but are still rather simple. For example, it can increase or decrease a number by 1, or the ALU can perform bit shifts, which is essentially taking a number and adding a 0 to the end of it. In decimal, bit shifting is like multiplying a number by 10, but in binary, it's equivalent to multiplying a number by 2. The ALU can also perform logic functions on two numbers, such as the logical AND, or exclusive OR operations. For example, here is the logical AND operation for two binary inputs, and you can see that the output is a logical AND for each place value of the two inputs. However, more importantly, the ALU calculator can perform comparisons. For example, you can input two numbers and hit the comparison button to test whether the numbers are equal to one another. And if they are, then an equals flag goes up, while the other comparison flags, like less than or greater than, stay down. Finally, the ALU calculator's display that outputs the result has a special name called the accumulator. So now that we've explained the various parts of this analogy, how does it all work together? Well, the first step is to load a program that we want to run, which is like moving a set of books from the bookshelves to the cart, and then moving a single book to the table and opening it up. It's important to note that the DRAM cart and cache memory on the table are both temporary and limited capacity locations, whereas the SSD bookshelves can hold a lot more and are semi-permanent long-term storage. Additionally, when the computer is turned off, there are no books in the DRAM or the CPU. But when the computer turns on, the cart and table are very actively shuffling books around. Let's take a look at the contents of one of the books. Essentially, there are two types of pages: instructions and data. You can think of the instructions as the directions in a cookbook, with each step numbered sequentially across the pages. And the pages of data contain a list of addresses with values stored at each address, and are like the ingredients that go into the recipe itself. Similar to cooking, you need both the recipe and ingredients to make it work, and just a few ingredients can be combined in dozens of different ways using different recipes. But to not use an analogy inside another analogy, let's drop the cooking one and focus on the books, table, and calculator. Let's start at the beginning of this program and flip to page 1, instruction 1, which is called a load, and is the most common type of instruction. This load has us open the pages of data and find a specific address. We then copy and write down the value stored at that address into one of the general purpose registers on the sheet of paper. With instruction 1 completed, we move to instruction 2, which is to increment the value in register 0 by 1. So we plug the value into the ALU calculator and hit +1. The third instruction, called a store instruction, is used to save or store the output of the calculator found in the accumulator display into the pages of data in the same address it was in before. These simple yet very common instructions are equivalent to this line of code. Next, we move on to instruction 4 and complete it, and then instruction 5, and so on, moving through the list of instructions which goes on and on and on. In order to keep track of which instruction is the next one to be completed, we use one of the special locations on the sheet of paper that we mentioned earlier, called the program counter, or PC, also called an instruction address register or instruction pointer. Since the PC currently has a value of 5, we find instruction 5, complete it, and increase the program counter by 1. Therefore, the next instruction to be completed will be instruction 6. However, what if after completing instruction 6, we want to jump directly to instruction 42. Well, to do this, we use a jump instruction at 7, which directly sets the value in the program counter to a new number, and in this case, it's 42. As a result, the sequence of instructions will be 5, 6, 7, which is the jump instruction, then 42, 43, 44, and so on. A similar set of instructions is called a conditional branch, which is used for implementing if statements, loops, and other conditional code. Let's use an example of a for loop with a few simple lines of code inside of it. Quite simply, this loop is used to repeat the code inside of it 4 times. Here are the corresponding instructions of the for loop, along with the instructions for the code inside of it, and we color-coded each of the elements to keep track of which specific lines of code result in the corresponding instructions. We'll discuss how compilers turn code into instruction later in this video, but for now, let's focus on the for loop and its instructions. Specifically, here's where I gets set to 0 and stored in an address in the pages of data. Here's where I is loaded from that address and incremented by 1, and here's the contents of the loop. At the top, you can see the 3 instructions: load, compare, and branch greater than or equal to. The load first grabs the value for I and places it into register 0. Compare feeds I stored in register 0 and a value of 4 into the ALU and compares them, resulting in the applicable comparison flags being triggered. Next, branch greater than or equal to checks whether either the greater than or the equals flag is on, and if it is, it sets the program counter to 23, which corresponds to completing and leaving a loop. However, when I is less than 4, those flags aren't triggered and the loop continues until it hits the jump instruction at address 22, where the jump sets the program counter to 6, which corresponds to the top of the for loop. As a result, the loop will repeat a total of 4 times. Note that this code on the left is in C++, whereas the actual instructions completed by your CPU are in a binary language called machine code, and the semi-readable version of the instructions is called assembly. But we modified this assembly a little bit to make it more readable. One interesting note is that you may think that with everything a computer can do, there must be tens of thousands of different instructions. Well, actually, the 6502 processor in the Apple IIe from 1983 could only complete 56 different instructions, whereas the modern M1 chip in the MacBook Pro can complete 354 instructions. Here's the list of all the instructions each chip can execute, and if you take a good look, most of these instructions are rather simple. Let's just think about that for a second. Every single thing you do on your computer can be constructed using only various sequences of 354 different instructions. However, many programs have millions upon millions of lines of instructions, and hopefully there aren't any bugs in them. So now that we've discussed the range of possible instructions, let's further explore how CPUs work. In order to complete an instruction, there are always 3 key steps: fetch, decode, and execute. The first step is fetch, and is where the controller uses the value in the program counter to search through the pages of instructions in the book for the corresponding instruction address. The controller then copies the instruction found at that address into a special location called the Current Instruction Register, or CIR. At the same time, the controller increases the program counter by 1. The second step is decode, and in this step, the current instruction is fed into a circuit called the instruction decoder. In our analogy from earlier, this decoder is a key part of the controller, and in essence, it's the circuitry that reads in an instruction and both interprets what the machine code of an instruction actually does and simultaneously produces the control signals to properly execute that instruction. Specifically, this instruction decoder circuit uses the binary values of the instruction and an incredibly complex arrangement of logic gates to produce the corresponding control signals, which are then sent to the different elements in the CPU. Instruction decoders are one of the more complicated parts of the CPU, but here's an example along with a simplified explanation. Let's say we have this add instruction in the current instruction register, or CIR, and it's fed into the instruction decoder. The first part of the binary instruction specifies we want to use the ALU. With the ALU selected, the next 3 bits specify that we want to use the add function, and then the last 4 bits of the instruction indicates we want the values in register 0 and register 1 to be routed and sent to the ALU. Instruction decoding is considerably more complicated than that, but let's move on to the third step, which is execute. During execute, using our example instruction, the control signals from the instruction decoder and an intricate set of electrical timing signals are used to first send the value in register 0 and then the value in register 1 to the ALU. The timing signals are used to accommodate the time it takes electricity to travel from the registers to the ALU and for transistors and logic gates to change their state, thereby ensuring the correct result at the output. After the values are input, the ALU adds the 2 numbers together, and a subsequent timing signal saves the result into the accumulator, thus completing the execute step. These 3 steps, fetch, decode, and execute, are used to complete a single line of instructions, and once it's completed, these steps repeat, but using the new value in the program counter. In essence, fetch, decode, and execute form a cycle, so let's run through it again. During fetch, the controller uses the program counter's value to fetch the corresponding instruction and places it in the CIR, and the program counter increases by 1. Next, during decode, the instructions binary is fed into the instruction decoder, where a complex set of logic gates generate the correct electrical control signals for that instruction. Finally, during execute, the instruction is completed using the control signals and timing signals, and in this case, the value in the accumulator is stored back into a memory address which, using the analogy, is like writing the value from the calculator display into a data location in the book. Then the fetch, decode, execute cycle repeats again using the next program counter's value, and so on. The fetch, decode, execute cycle is used in every processor, no matter whether it's the 6502 in the Apple IIe or the M1 in the MacBook Pro. But of course, there are many differences such as the size of the cache, the registers, or functions on the ALU calculator, and much more. We'll explore the exact differences in a few minutes, but for now, one important detail is that the fetch, decode, execute cycle uses your computer's clock to regulate its pace. The 6502 chip had a 1 MHz clock, which ticked away at 1,000,000 times a second, and thus each step in the fetch, decode, execute cycle took a microsecond. Additionally, the 6502 was an 8-bit processor, meaning the size of the registers in the ALU's input and output were 8 bits wide. On the other hand, the M1 chip is a 64-bit processor, so it can handle much larger numbers, and it uses a 3.2 GHz clock, and therefore each step takes 1/3 of a nanosecond. Additionally, the M1 chip, along with all modern chips, uses a technique called pipelining, where multiple instructions are queued up, resulting in fetch, decode, and execute for different program counter values and different instructions being completed at the same time. There are many other optimizations in modern processors that we'll soon discuss, but it's important to understand that from the second you turn on your laptop, smartphone, gaming console, GPU, or AI server, to the second you shut it off, The processor is continuously cycling through fetch, decode, execute over and over, using programs filled with instructions and data along with the CPU's clock to regulate its pace. In essence, this fetch, decode, execute cycle is the common section of technological DNA that has powered every single processor built over the past 50 years. This cycle of steps is incredibly powerful, capable of performing trillions to quadrillions of mathematical operations every second in a single chip. But you may be wondering, are there alternatives to the fetch, decode, execute cycle? Well, there's a world of different kinds of microchips, but specifically, alternatives include application-specific integrated circuits, or ASICs, such as these microchips found in this Bitcoin mining computer, or field programmable gate arrays, or FPGAs, which are the main chips in a number of automotive computers and cameras. Both ASICs and FPGAs don't use the fetch and decode steps, but rather they perform repetitive operations by flowing data through a set pattern of logic gates and execution units, making them highly optimized, but very inflexible. And then even further from these chips are quantum computers, which are based on qubits and quantum circuits, which we'll discuss in future videos. But now that we've covered the fetch, decode, execute cycle, it's important to discuss two more steps, which are memory and write-back. Memory is analogous to moving books from the SSD bookshelves onto the DRAM card, and then onto the table or cache memory. And write-back is like writing data into the books, and when space for a new book is needed on the table, the old book is placed back on the DRAM cart and eventually returned to the bookshelves. These two steps use another special location called the memory address register and are critical to a functioning computer. But they typically take a lot longer to complete than the fetch, decode, execute steps, and therefore in some architectures and textbooks they're included in the cycle, and sometimes they aren't. We're working on a separate video on how data moves around these memory locations, so stay tuned. Now that we've uncovered the technological DNA inside all processors, it's important to note that, similar to the DNA found in the nucleus of the cell, and there being multiple layers of biological organization and structure for all living things, there are many layers of complexity or abstraction between the fetch, decode, execute cycle and a computer running a video game or browsing the internet. If you want to dive into some of the other layers and understand more about how computers work, we recommend you check out Brilliant, which is the sponsor of this video. Brilliant has a massive library of interactive courses that include subjects like calculus, scientific thinking, circuits, programming in Python, logic, data analysis, and many more topics that would take far too long to list. However, Brilliant is much more than a list of courses. Rather, it's as if your favorite teacher who makes classes engaging is combined with your favorite video game and then mixed with the knowledge from countless textbooks. The result would be brilliant. Their mission is to create a world of better problem solvers, and every one of their courses focuses on critical thinking through interactive.
Right, so what you just saw there is a little video in terms of how the engineering behind the technology. So just to break it down, the CPU, or the central processing unit, is like the brain of the technology, the brain of the computer, the tablet, the laptop, the phone, the digital camera, the smart device, the smartwatch, your gaming device. That CPU, or central processing unit, is the actual brain. And what you saw there, in a nutshell, is basically how the unit processes the information. Those zeros and ones represent the state electricity is normally in. So electricity could either be on or off. It cannot be in the middle. It have to be either on or off. And of course, when the electricity switch is on, it represents by a 1. And when the electricity is off, it's represented by a 0. So electricity is either on or off. And based on that, we would know checking from 0 to 9 or 0 to 10, as the case may be, That's 10 digits from 0 to 9. That is the decimal system. That's how we would normally count. And in the computer, they only count in increments of 2s, or the binary system, because we're working with the state of electricity. Now, all that what you saw there, it might look a little complicated, but it's a graphical explanation of what happens with our technology. And that is the backbone infrastructure that supports our digital realm, our gadgets, our technology, the way we see things. And that's the engineering. And imagine all that is happening in a chip or an integrated circuit, maybe sometimes smaller than my fingernail. And that is where the technology is. I did show a video, I think it was a couple of months ago, which I got from Intel, the company Intel, that showed the way the microprocessor is manufactured. And we saw where you're talking about taking silica, which is sand grains, not sand like from IDC, but silica is in sand grains. And then you put it through heat, and then it's, of course, converted into silica wafers, similar to you would use the same or similar sand to make glass. You would make silica wafers. And with that now, it's masked off. The digital design of the circuit is then plotted. Imaging or a picture is done, which simply basically creates like an image of the circuit onto the sheet of silica, the sheet that silicon wafer. And then it goes through a chemical process, which basically erases what we do not want, and what is needed remains onto the silica, and then it is sealed. And then you have circuits that is created so that electricity can then flow. So that was a little bit technical to some people, but some of you students out there who are doing computer science, computer studies, some type of engineering would appreciate that video, because that's a graphical interface to plenty of the theory that you'll be reading and trying to figure out, and you go to school and the teacher will be drawing diagrams and showing what this is all about. This was just a simple graphical interface, okay? I think we have a little more of that clip, guys. If you can just show maybe about a minute again, and then you'll come back to me.
Let's quickly run through slightly more advanced topics to finish up this video. Earlier, we mentioned that the MacBook Pro's M1 chip can complete 354 different instructions. This set of instructions is called ARM v8.4, and it's categorized by a RISC architecture or reduced instruction set computer. For example, here's a simple game of Snake using 145 lines of C++ code. It's the job of a compiler, which is a separate piece of software, to take this code along with ARM v8.4's 354 RISC instructions and generate a list of 676 assembly instructions equivalent to the machine code instructions that would be found in a book or program named snake.app. The other common architecture found in Intel and AMD chips is called CISC, or Complex Instruction Set Computer, and is composed of thousands of different possible instructions. For example, here's the equivalent Snake program that is compiled to run on an Intel or AMD chip using CISC and x86 64-bit instructions, and you can see it's only 560 instructions now. A few key differences between RISC and CISC are that each RISC instruction is relatively simple and is executed at a consistently fast execution rate. Additionally, RISC architectures are more energy efficient and thus used in all smartphones, whereas CISC architectures have thousands of different instructions and pack a lot more into a single instruction. Additionally, the CISC instruction decoder is much more complicated, and individual instructions have a variable execution rate, sometimes taking multiple clock cycles to execute.
Okay, come back to me. Great, so what you just saw there is a little explanation of some of the type of processors. Just to give you an idea, when the Apple IIe actually came out, that is when I actually started to use computers from way back in the 1980s. So I'm not that old, but at the same time, I have a lot of experience with regards to the technology, and I've evolved with it. So I'm happy to be here to actually share my experiences as together with some of the technology that would have been, that is, and will be coming. So until I see you guys next week, Thursday, right here on IBN, I am Dr. Shahan Charlie Qasim, wishing you a productive one. Once again,
as it is to clean. Make this your year of style. Contact Camry Glass today and let's start your transformation.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. I greet you, my beloved brothers and sisters, with the universal greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace, mercy and blessings of Allah be upon you as we continue here at the IBN station trying to learn to read Arabic script. And as I've mentioned before, this is the fastest and the easiest way to read Arabic. And we have covered so far 3 sessions. Today is our 4th session, which will complete the complete alphabet and also most of the rules of reading. And in our next session, inshallah, we will close off this aspect of the reading of the Arabic. And our next session, inshallah, we'll be looking at, practical examples from the Quran. We'll be looking at various parts of the Quran, and we open the Quran anywhere, and inshallah, you will be able to read as long as you follow all of the guidance that I have given you on this, these sessions, inshallah ta'ala. So I understand from some of the viewers in our previous session, there was a little bit of problem with regards to the audio. I think some people, not all of them, but a few of them, and I think it is all dependent on the different type of media that you are using. And inshallah, I would quickly like to do a recap on what we have done in the previous class, the previous session only, and inshallah then we will continue with the remaining letters of the alphabet. So in our 3rd session, we talked about the letters coming in pairs. After we have looked at 14 letters, we went on to the other letters, and we looked at 8 more letters instead of 7. We look at 8, and we said that the letters, they come in pairs. And the 8 letters are as follows. We notice the first pair, it is written above the line, all right? And they're similar in shape, they're the same shape. The only difference between the 2 shapes is that the first one has no dot, the second one has a dot. This is dal and this is val. So dal and val, all right? Then the next pair is ra, and you would notice the ra, 1/3 of it above the line and 2/3 below the line. Of course, when you will be reading the Quran, you would not see a line. But if you use an imaginary line in your mind, you would notice how the difference of the writing as if it is above the line or below the line. But if you have a line, this is what it would actually look like. So this one is called ra. This sound is r, r, and this is za, flat, za, za. Sound is z, z. This is dal, sound d, and val, tongue between the teeth, val, sound v, v. So dal, val, ra, za, right? And then we have the letter sin and the letter sheen. All right, Sheen has 3 dots. Seen has no dot. So seen, and sheen, sh. And the next pair is the letter sod and dod. All right? Sod, dod. So what you would notice in all of the pairs is the second of the two is the one that carries the dot. All right? That is your first observation. Of course, after the shape. The shape is the same. All right? Same shape. And then the second one carries the dot. And the third observation is the sound. There is, a kind of a rhyme close. Dal, val. Ra, za. Seen, sheen. Seen, sheen. Sod, dod. Sod, dod. All right, and the letter dod, as I have mentioned before, the letter dod is a unique letter of the alphabet, and it is unique to the extent that many of the people who study languages, they say that the letter dod has a unique sound that cannot be found in other languages. Hence, the Arabic language is also referred to Lughatul Dod, the language of Dod. All right? So, Dod. And you have to differentiate between this letter, Dod, and Dal when you're reading a word. All right? So, if you have a fatha for the Dal, it will be Dal fatha is da, flat, da. Whereas the Dod with the fatha will be do, do. So, da, do. Right? So, we spoke about those 4 letters, and we looked at the different sound that you have with regards to them. And then we went on to talk about the letter ha, all right, and differentiating between this ha and this one. And we have mentioned that this one is upper throat and this one is lower, ha, more bass, ha. And it is easy to remember the difference in the sound by remembering that ha comes to the upper part of the alphabet because ha comes before ha. So the upper part, ha, and the lower part, ha, the lower part of the alphabet. So it's easy to remember with regards to the sound. Okay, one thing I did not mention in session 3 is the different shapes of the letter ha. So you would notice the letter ha coming in different shapes, different faces, all right? And that is how it is, in the Quran. So sometimes you will see it like this, all right? So it's like in the beginning of a word, it looks like this. But if it is in the middle of a word, it looks like this, all right? Or sometimes you will see it like this. All right, like a crevice. This is like a little F, all right? And if it is in the end of a word, you would see it looking like this. And sometimes by herself, it could look like this, or it could look like that, all right? Or like this. So you have many different shapes of the same letter, ha. All right? This shape here at the end of a word, and you can see this right here in the word Allah. See? This basically is an attachment line. So if you analyze the shape, basically this here is the same thing like this. All right? And this is just an attachment line. All right? This is the attachment line. All right? So that's the letter ha. And then we went on to look at some examples, and very quickly, because of time, we don't want to run out of time. So previous class, session 1, we know that this is the letter kaf, fatha. Then we have a shape with 2 dots below, and you already know what is the answer. Only one letter in the whole alphabet that has 2 dots below. It's the letter Ya, the last letter of the alphabet. All right? And then you have the attachment line here from the Kaf to the Ya, which is this part here. And then we have the letter Lam. All right? So if we have a Fatha, this Ya is not functioning as a lengthener. It is not a long vowel because there's a Fatha. For the Ya to function as a lengthener, lengthening the Kesra, there must be a Kesra before it. So hence, if there is no Kesra, the Ya is not a lengthener. So this is the word Kai. This is a sukoon, meaning the Ya has to be pronounced together with the Kaf. Kai L. All right? Let's say Kai La. Right? And then another word, if we have the letter Waw before, you might see it. Wa. And if there is a Kesra here now, okay? So as long as you have a Kesra here, then you notice if the Ya has no vowel, as long as the Ya has no vowel, only then we will say, okay, it's lengthening the Kesra sound. All right? Because sometimes you may have a word, for example, you have a word like this. There is a Kesra here, but the Ya has a vowel. All right? So this is hiya, meaning she. But if there is no vowel, then the Ya will be lengthening the Kesra sound. It will be he. All right? So, understand the rule. If the Ya has no vowel and there is a Kesra before it, then the Ya is lengthening the Kesra sound. So, wakil. All right? Wakil. Let's look at another example. That's the letter Mim. Dhamma, that's Mu. This is a shape with one dot below. You already know what letter it is. This is the only letter in the alphabet that has one dot, and it is the letter Ba. And then we have two dots below, so we know that's Ya. So Mubi. Right? Mubin. All right? Mubin on, for example. Mubin. Good? All right. Let's say we have Ma, and then we have the letter Ha. All right? And then we have the letter Ya again, and the letter Nun. So it is Mahin. Mahin. All right? Let's go again. Mu. We have a Fatha now. So we have a Ya, okay, but there is a Fatha. So Mu, Ha. If the Ya has a sukoon, Hay. Mi. Muhaymin. All right? Muhaymin. Muhaymin. All right? Let's look at another example. So you're learning the letters, you're learning the rules of recitation, of reading, just reading, normal reading. All right? So let's see, we have this, and then we have the same shape again. We have the same shape again. So all of these shapes, they will all be differentiated with dots. So we have two dots here. We have two dots on top. We have two dots here. And then let's say we have the letter Mim. So we have Ya, Tim, Yatim. Yatim. Yatim means an orphan. All right? Let's say we have the letter Kaf. Yeah. Ki. So you have a long vowel here and a long vowel here. Kilo. Kilo. Like kilo. Weight. Kilo. All right, let's say you have letter lam, wow, and you have the letter so you have a fatha before the wow. Even though the wow is has no vowel, but the wow is not lengthening the Dhamma song because there is no Dhamma before. So we would not say lu, but we say la, and then join to the wow, lau, lau, la, laula. All right? Another example. We have a dot on top. So that's the letter noon. Fatha again, not a Dhamma, so the wow is not a lengthener. Now, naum. Right? So, naum means sleep. Laula means if not. All right? So, each word that I have given you here, they are words and they have meanings, right? They're not nonsensical words. They're all words with meaning. Okay, let's have, so you have kaf. Okay? Ka, ta, ba. The ba has no vowel, so we pronounce the ba with the ta. So it will be ka, tab. And then this the noon with a lengthener. It will be katab, katabna, katabna. We have written. All right? Katabna. And so on. All right? So we have learned letters, we have learned lengtheners, we have looked at examples, we have seen the letter ha, all the different shapes. I hope you have been taking your notes. Inshallah, you can also rewind the video and look at it again and, see it, look at it how many times you want to look at it. Right. And then we spoke about sukoon. All right. So we have the word su, kun, su, kun. Sukoon is basically this sign, or it could be like a circle. Both of them is the same, all right? Sukoon. And sukoon means that the letter is stagnant. And then we spoke about something else, it is called shadda. All right? And shadda, right? Shadda basically is represented with a little sign that looks like a little W, and it is written above the letter. And it's basically indicating, all right, it's basically indicating that the letter is twice, right? Its letter is twice. And it is as if the letter is saying, join me and call me again. So it has a double function. So it functions like a sukoon in that it is joined together with the previous letter. That's one thing. And the second function of it is that the letter above which it is written has to be pronounced a second time with whatever vowel it carries. All right? So, by example, as the scholars would say, بِالْأَمْثَالِ يَتَّضِحَ الْأَحْوَالِ. With examples, the condition becomes clearer. So let's say we have the letter kaf, and we have the letter lam, all right? And we have this shadda above the lam, all right? So what we're going to do is the letter is telling me to join with the previous letter. So instead of sounding off this kaf by herself, instead of saying ku, we will join the kaf to the lam because the shadda is there, and the shadda is indicating it needs to be joined. So we get kul, all right? And if there is a vowel here, you have to pronounce the lam a second time with that vowel. So first, kul, and then second time, la. Kulla. Right? Kulla. Now, this is the letter kaf. The kaf has a fatha this time. So it has to be joined here to the lam. This is the letter lam, all right? Because there's a shadda here. So we have kal, and then the lam has to be pronounced a second time. But notice the lam is lengthened with an alif. So we will say kalla, kal, and then la, kalla, all right? Kalla. These words are used a lot of times in the Quran, all right? Let's say you have the letter mim and a mim again. So mim joined to a mim, but there's a kasra here, so it'll be mim, mim, and call the letter again, second time, fatha. Mim, ma, mimma. So the letter is saying, join me and call me again. Remember that. Join me and call me again. All right? And then it might be like this. This is mimma, and this is mimma. Mimma. Lengthened. Here is no lengthener. For example, in the Quran you have, Allah says, فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ مِمَّا خُلِقْ. Mimma khuliq. Right. So you have mimma, and this is mimma. And maybe this can also be written like this. So instead of the mim written like this, you could probably see it like this, like that. And this is the next meme going back like that. All right, sometimes, so it may look like this also. So there's the kasra, that is the meme. This and that is the same. All right? So either like this or like, or you could probably look at it like this. Like a loop. Here the eye is closed and here it's open. But it's the same thing. They're all the same. So don't get confused with that. All right? Yeah. So that's sukoon and shadda. Basically, they both indicate that the letter above which these signs are written is that the letter must be pronounced in conjunction with the previous letter. All right? And we have also learned previously, I told you that there are 6 letters of the alphabet that are not allowed, they do not allow attachment from both sides, like the other letters. All right? 6 of them only from one side. Okay? We have identified 2 of them previously in the previous session. And these 2 are the alif and the letter waw. All right? Both of them, they do not join. You would notice anything that coming after them will not be attached. There will be a space between the letter and the other letters coming after. All right? Alif and waw. So the remaining 4 letters that do not allow attachment, they are the letter dal and the letter zal. Now you will notice why I'm writing them spaced out like this, and you will see why momentarily. And this is the letter ra and za. Okay? So I drew them like this, or I wrote them like this for you to take a quick picture in your mind of this chart. All right? That's the chart there. So the chart basically alif on top, the waw at the bottom, and then you have the 4 letters coming together in the same sequence in the alphabet, dal, zal, ra, za. All right? So it's a very easy chart and easy to remember the 6 letters. So you have to be very observant when you're reading the Quran or reading any Arabic text with vowels, you must be observant and noticing that letters, any letter coming after any one of these 6 letters, you would notice that they are not attached. So maybe we can look at some examples very quickly. So you have, let's say you have the letter, this word, all right? So you have dar. So dal does not allow attachment, all right, to any letter coming after. Alif also does not allow. So this is how is going to be written, all right? All of the letters separated. Let's say you have a word with an alif plus a ra plus an alif plus a dal, all right? Now what you would notice, the word would look like this. So all of them spaced out, no attachment, all right? So you would notice this in the Quran. Also, dar and arada and so on, all right? So remember those 6 letters, all right? And observe in any text you're reading, you would notice, all right? Maybe you can look right here. You can see the alif was not attached to the next letter. Alif not attached. Notice also here, this is one word here, all right? Let me underline the word so you can see it. This whole thing from here to here is one word. So the alif was not attached to the lam because the alif is one of the 6 letters. Notice the ra, not attached to the ha because ra is one of those 6 letters. All right, and we can see it here again also, the same thing. Okay? Notice also the meme, how it is lengthened with a little alif on top. I have told you that before, that the Arabs, sometimes if they have to write a word like that, it is the same like the letter meme with a little alif above. So if this is ma, this is also ma. All right? So if, for example, in the Quran you might see a word like this, all right? And this is the letter ta, but because it is lengthened, it's like this. So it's kitab, kitab. The traditional way of writing that sound, kitab, is ki, ta, like that. Okay? But in the Quran, you would see it like this. All right? The Quranic Arabic is the most advanced form of Arabic writing, and that statement needs to be analyzed. But the time does not really permit. But very quickly, what I could say is that why is it more advanced? Because that like this, without vowels, can also be kutub, which is plural. And in some of the verses of the Quran, you may see the word like this, and it allows you to recite the word either as kitab or kutub, one book, a book, or books. All right? And that is if only the meaning is straight. All right? So that's why it's an advanced form. It allows the reader to recite it more than one way. And that is what I have also pointed out in one of the previous sessions. And when we look at Surah Al-Fatiha, the first chapter of the Quran, you would notice the word written like this, Maliki Yawmuddin, right? So Maliki Yawmuddin is written like this. But here, we still lengthen it. We lengthen this, we say Malik. But you can also shorten it, Malik. But if it was written like this, then the reader will have no other option but to lengthen. It would not allow him to shorten it because there's an alif here. So he will have no option here. But here, like this, he has 2 options, right? He can say Maliki Yawmuddin or Maliki Yawmuddin. All right, so that's why to help people, they put it like that. But without vowels, this is how it would have looked. All right, so yes. So we have looked at maybe, well, we have looked at so far. Let me quickly now look at what we have covered in terms of the letters of the alphabet. First, we started out with Kaf, Lam, Mim, Noon, all right? And then we said Wow, and we said Ya, all right? And then we went, so those are, and we look at the first letter of the alphabet, which was Aleph. That is in session 1. Session 2, we look at Ba, Ta, and Tha, and then we went on to Jim, Ha, and Kha. All right? And then, so this was 3 and 3, 6. And then we look at the letter Ha. Right? Then we went on to the third session, and we said the letters come in pair. So you have Dal, Zal, Ra, Za, Sin, Sheen, Sod, and Dod. Right? So Dod goes in the next line. Why? Because only because we want to have 7 letters in each line. So we have 7 here, and we have 7 here, 7 here, and then 7 here. So we had stopped at the letter Dod. All right? We looked at 8 letters in session 3, and we look at 8 letters because we saw we don't like to break a couple. Right? We don't want to separate any couples. So that's why we looked at, Sod and Dot together. We look at 8. So then today we want to continue the remaining letters of the alphabet. And what we have here, Dod, we have the letter Ta and the letter Tha. All right? Also a pair. All right? Another pair. Ta, Tha. Ta, Tha. This is pronounced in a kind of a rounded manner. Ta. It's different from the letter Ta, which is flat. So you have to learn to differentiate between Ta and Ta. So if you have the vowel Fatha with it, there's a Ta, Fatha is give me Ta, flat, Ta. Ta, Fatha gives me Ta. Ta. All right? Ta. This is Tha. Tha. Also in a rounded manner. Tha. Ta. Tha. And then we have the letter Ain and the letter Ghain. All right? Ain and Ghain. And notice also the second of the two also is the one that carries the dot. So Ain is more of a glottal sound from the throat. Ain. All right? And the letter Ghain. G. So Ta, Tha, Ain, Ghain. All right? So the sound is what is the most important, is what sound do you get from the letters. All right? I think the most difficult aspect of the language is to get the proper sound of every letter. That's the most challenging part of it. So Ain, Ghain. And then we have the letter Fa, which looks pretty much like the shape of the Ba and Ta and Tha. And it just has a head, like a loop inside with a dot on top. That's the letter Fa. Fa. Right? Fa. Pronounced like when the incisors go into the bottom lips. Fa. All right? And then we have the letter Qaf. All right? Qaf with 2 dots. So the head of it looks pretty much like the head of the Fa. But the bottom portion looks like the Nun. All right? So you have to be very observant when you are learning the letters of the Arabic alphabet. And by looking at the letters very quickly, we would notice certain signs that differentiate letters when we look at all of the letters in totality. All right, we would notice that there are some distinguishing characters for the letters. So very quickly, look here. You have noticed the ba has one dot below. Can we check and see if we are seeing any other letter with one dot below? No. So ba is the only letter that has one dot below. Then we said ya has two dots below. Quickly you can see no other letter with two dots below. Look at this one. Two dots on top. How many letters in the whole alphabet has two dots on top? So only this one and the qaf. Only two letters that has two dots above. Look very quickly. Quickly. Only this one, qaf, pronounced in a rounded manner. Qaf, qa, qa, and the ta. All right? So while we are talking about qaf, we want to compare qaf with kaf. This is flat, ka, kaf. This one is qaf, qaf. All right? To get or to be able to weigh the difference in the sound, if you put the vowel fatha on any one of the letters, that should help you to differentiate in sound. So qaf with a fatha gives you qa, qa. It's more glottal, qa, qa. And kaf with a fatha gives you ka, ka. So qa, ka. All right? Qa with the fatha sound. All right, so two letters has two dots above. Look here, this one has three dots, fa. Which other letter has three dots? Only this one, sheen. All right? No other letters in the alphabet. Only two letters have three dots on top. So when you see these letters with the two dots right above or three dots above, how are you going to be able to differentiate which one is which? It's very easy. All you need to do is to look at what shape comes below the dots. So you would notice for the fa, all right, fa will be just that. Okay? If it's in the middle of a word, it will look like this. So it's only one part going up. Whereas for the sheen, it's like this. All right? Or like this. So you see? So below the dot is what helps me to be able. Ta is like that or like this. Whereas the qaf will be with a loop at the beginning of a word, and if it's in the middle of a word, it's like that, qaf. All right? So while we are looking at different shapes of the letters, we also have to be mindful of the fact that there are some letters that undergo a lot of changes when they occur in the words, whether it is in the beginning of a word or the letter is in the middle of a word, all right, and or at the end of a word. All right, so you would notice some of the letters undergoing a lot of changes, like the letter ha, as we have seen previously. All right, ha has a lot of different faces, shapes. All right, one of the easiest or two of the easiest letters in the whole alphabet that don't undergo any kind of changes at all are the letters ta and za. All right, they're like people. Some people, they don't change at all. All right, some people like that, they don't change. They remain one way all the time. So ta and za, like that. So if they are in the isolated form, they look like this. If they're in the middle of a word, they will just have the attachment line coming before and after. All right, but the shape is the same shape. But look at the letter ayn now. If ayn is in the middle of is in the beginning of a word, we take the head and we go like. So this part is cut off. The bottom part is cut off, just like the jim and the ha and the kha. When we cut it in half, this is also cut, and this is ready to be attached. Ayn. All right? And if it is in the middle of a word, it looks like this. All right? Let me see it, show it again. All right? Ayn. That's in the middle of a word. And if it is in the end of a word, like this is the attachment line. If there was a letter before it that does not allow attachment, supposing that there was the letter dal, right? Let's say, for example, you have this word. This is the end of a word, but it's not written like this. Why it's not written like this here in this word? Because the letter before did not allow attachment, so it's written like this. But if it was a letter that allowed attachment, for example, all right, then it will be written like this. And why is it written like this? It's because of speed writing, all right? So if I have the word, for example, sa, all right, you would notice when I wrote this word, the pen was not lifted from the board. Let me write it again and observe that. So, see? Only now I lift up to put in the dots. Good? If the ayn had to be written in the normal way like that, then this is what is going to happen. So you have like this. All right? I'll have to lift up the pen and then make it like this. All right? So because of the speed writing and so on, it was written like this. And that makes, this one makes more sense than this. Okay? So it's all about, you know, the logics behind writing and speed writing and so on. All right, so you have the letter Ayn and Ghayn. So Ayn and Ghayn will be the same way, it's just the dots will be different. And then we have the letter Fa and Qaf. Fa and Qaf, if Fa is at the beginning of a word, all right, it will be written like this. And if it is in the middle of a word, this is the attachment line coming first, and then a loop, and then going like that. Okay? And the Qaf will be, if it is, the Qaf is in the beginning of a word, it will be like this. 2 dots. This Fa is 1 dot, Qaf is 2 dots. And if it's in the middle of a word, it looks just like the Fa, but it has 2 dots. All right, the end of a word is the attachment line, comes like that. Same thing for the Fa, if it's in the end of a word. All right, attachment line. So those are the letters of the alphabet, and you have the rules. There is also some other thing I have to tell you, talk to you about, and that is the Hamza, which we said at the first session, that some people say that the Arabic alphabet has 29 letters, and the majority of, you know, grammarians and people who study language, they say that it's 28 letters, all right, and not 29. And why is there a difference? Is because of this letter, which is called Hamza. All right, so write it Hamza. What is Hamza? Hamza is this, remember that sign like a fatha, all right, above the letter, and then it has a little shape like this. Okay? So it's Hamza. Okay? So now if I have a alif with a vowel, we said alif has no sound of her own. Alif. So alif fatha equals to a. Likewise, Hamza fatha gives me the same output, a. Hamza fatha a. Alif fatha a. Alif kesra e. Hamza kesra e. So the same output we get. So that they're similar in that. They're similar in the output when a vowel is placed on or below the letter. All right? So that's one in similarity with the Hamza. Hamza can stand on her own what you would notice about this letter, Hamza, is that when compared to the other letters of the alphabet, she is very small, tiny, all right? And some people who say that there are 29 letters in the alphabet, they put her right here before, right? Before the ya. They stick her inside there, all right? So, Hamza could stand by herself. For example, in the Quran you have إِذَا جَاءَ, right? Nasrullahi wal Fath. By herself. وَأَنزَلْنَا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً. All right? Like that. By herself. Or it could go on a chair. So this is the shape of the letter Ba, Ta, Tha, Nun, Ya. All of them have the same shape. But the Hamza will be floating above it. Like this. And if there was a letter before, this will be the attachment line here. Right? And sometimes you would notice when you're reading the Arabic script, you would notice this Hamza going above some of the letters. All right? And I think it's because taking advantage because of her size, like a little baby, she wants to go on top to be carried. All right? So she goes sometimes above the alif or above the waw or above the ya. Now, the ya has no dots. All right? So these are the different ways you can see the alif coming. All right? These are all the different ways you can see the alif coming. If you see the Hamza, if you see the Hamza coming above all of these letters, then what you have to do is to ignore this waw or the ya. They are no longer, it is no longer considered to be a waw or a ya. So it's like if the Hamza has dominated the letter and giving it her own power. All right? So that is what you have to remember about the Hamza. All right? So it's important for you to know the name of that letter, the function of it, how it occurs in the word, and so on. Maybe we can look at an example. If there's a sukoon here, so we will pronounce this as mu. Like if you have a hiccup, mu, min, mu'min, a believer. Ana mu'min, I'm a believer. All right? Mu'minun, mu. All right? That's the Hamza here. Bi'r. Bi'r means a well, right? A well. Bi'r. And so on. Let's look at something else now. We have alif, the letter alif. First letter alif. Now you're going to see something different about alif. Alif can be written like this, or it is also just like a ya, but the ya has no dots. So it's shaped like the letter ya, but no dots. Okay? Both this is alif and this is alif. This one, this shape comes at end of a word. All right? It comes at the end of a word. For example, asa. All right, you have Musa. So we have already learned previously that Alif really lengthens a fatha sound. So when you see the Alif here, you will not just simply say Musa. Not sa, but sa. Musa. So it's a lengthener here, and there's also a lengthener. Musa. So two things you have to remember about this Alif is that it has no dots and it comes at the end of a word. This Alif here can come at the beginning of a word, the middle of a word, or at the end of a word. Da'a, all right? Middle of a word. Ma, all right? Beginning of a word. All right, let's see. Amara. So beginning of a word, middle of a word, end of a word. So notice the Alif. All right, here it's only at the end. Good? So that is with regards to Alif. And then also, we want to talk about the letter Ta. All right? The letter Ta. So let's say T-A-A. There are two types of Ta. One is this one that you have already learned about. And if you could imagine this shape and bringing this end and this, the beginning here and the end here, bringing it together, and like if you're tying it up, it would look like this. All right? You could actually see the loop here, this crossing, like an X, or you may not see it. It may just look like this. But it's the same thing. All right? This is called open Ta. It's because it's open, right? And this one is called the closed-up Ta. So open Ta, closed Ta. It has, you know, the names in the Arabic. It's called Ta Maftuha and Ta Marbuta. All right, the names not so important because we're just doing reading. All right, and then now I want for us to read, let's say, oh, should we sing the alphabet first? Huh? Let's sing the alphabet, and then after that, you know, when you sing something, you tend to remember it faster than if you have to say it. Try it out. You must try it out. Many of you have memorized many songs. So if you sing it, you remember it. But if you have to say it, you can't say it. All right? So maybe if you sing the alphabet, it might help you to remember the letters of the alphabet and also the sound. So because I have written them like this, all right, 7, we'll pause at the end of each line. So it goes like this. Alif, ba, ta, tha, jim, ha, kha, dal, zal, ra, za, sin, shin, sad, dod, ta, dha, ain, ghain, fa, qaf, kaf, lam, mim, nun, ha, waw, ya. Kaf, lam, mim, nun, ha, waw, ya. These are the letters of Al-Quran. Memorize them, ya ikhwan. They are only 28. Read them, learn them, don't be late. All right, so let's remove the letters of the alphabet now, and let's look at part of a verse of the Quran. It may seem to be long, but inshallah, hopefully, if you apply the rules, while I'm writing, you can try to identify the letters in the meanwhile. All right, so let's go quickly because our time is, we don't have much time remaining. So let's try to identify the letters first in the first word. So we have the letter Ra, Ba, Noon, Alif. All right, we're seeing the shadda here. So the letter is telling me to join me. Join me means to join it with the previous letter. Join me and call me again. So I have to pronounce the Ba with the Ra together. So we have Rabb and call me again. Ba. We have a fatha there. Rabba. Noon with an alif, lengthening the alif, the fatha sound. So we have Rabbana. Rabbana, our Lord. Let's go to the next. We have two different letters here, two dots on top. We already learned. This is Ta, this is Qaf. This is Ba, this is Lam. All right? Ta, Fatha, Ta. Qaf has to be pronounced with the Ba because the Ba is telling the Qaf, join me and call me again. Ta, Qab, Ba. But look, the Lam needs help. So the Ba has to be pronounced with the Lam. Ta, Qab, Bal. Taqabbal means accept. Mim, Noon, Alif. All right? Mim, Noon, Alif. Mim joined to the Noon. Min. And then call the Noon again a second time with an extension. Na. Min, na. From us. From us. Alif joined to a Noon. Kesra here. We have in. And pronounce the Noon a second time. Na. Inna. Kaf, Fatha, Ka. Innaka. Then we have here and that. Alif and Noon. An. Ta. Now notice here. There is a rule that we did not talk much about. But remember I told you the Alif has many functions. All right? One of the other functions of the Alif is that it goes with a word. All right? And it is normally at the beginning of the word, indicating that the word is a definite noun. All right? And the Alif and the Lam together, they come together. Basically, it means the. All right? So what you would notice is that sometimes the Lam is pronounced, all right? And other times it is not pronounced. Here you notice the Lam will be pronounced. Here it is not pronounced. So what you would see is just a sign like this, meaning skip out the Alif, right? Forget about the Alif, treat it as if it doesn't exist. And the Lam also is not pronounced, okay? So when you see the shadda like this, it means that the letter with the previous, right, whatever letter comes before, with a sign, with a vowel sign, you will have to join it together to this. All right? So the ta is going to be joined straight across here to the sin. So it will be an, tas, tas. All right? Ta joined to the sin, leaving out the alif, leaving out the lam, and you're going straight to the sin. So you get tas. And the sin has to be pronounced a second time because it has a shadda. So it will be tas, sa. And then mi. And here across here you have the ain joining to the lam now because the lam has a sukoon. So it will be il, il. I joined to a lam give you il. And then ain fatha, ah. And then lim. When you are joining, you do not stop or pause halfway in a word. You can't do that. It's not allowed. If you pause halfway in a word, you will end up saying something else. All right? It's like you call in somebody, like let's say somebody's name is Muhammad. You can't just stop and say Mu or Muha and then Mad. All right? Muha, mad, M-A-D is mad. So you end up like two words, you know. So you can't stop halfway in a word. You have to pronounce the whole word. Okay? So Rabbana, Rabbana. تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. In this quotation of the Quran, you could see many things that we spoke about. So we talk about shadda. You're seeing a lot of shadda in the word, in the quotation. Then you're also seeing sukoon, or sukoon, right? Here. You're also seeing long vowels. So Rabbana, Minna, right? A long vowel here, long vowel here, all right? And of course you have short vowel here, all right? Short vowel, right? Short. So you have short vowels, you have long vowels, you have shadda, you have sukoon, all right? Many things from this quotation, and that's it basically, all right? Before I go today, inshallah, I would like to mention to you that there is a competition that is going on, and the competition is basically about art and craft and calligraphy, and the participants, whoever want to participate, there is an age limit, 12 years and under 12, all right, and it is a competition particularly for the Islamic schools, the TIA, TML, and the ASJA, where the students are asked to write in Arabic script either the word Allah or Muhammad or Allahu Akbar or Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, all right, whatever, however you want to write it, with glitter, with crayon, with painting, it doesn't matter. But there is a size that also you have to remember. The size, the maximum size is 24 inches only, right? 24 by 24. And you can write it on canvas, on paper, however you want to do it, but try to do it the best as you can, because it's a competition, all right? And what you would need to do after you have thing is to write your name on it. They get it stamped to the principal, and the principal, they will keep it, inshallah, and then it will be submitted. There is a deadline for it. It's the 9th of July, and you can compete in it because the competition, I understand there is some, grand prizes. See this paper here. The first prize is $3,000. Second prize, $2,000. And the third prize, $1,000. So 3 categories. You have first year and second year. That's category 1, infants, and then you have juniors, standards 1, 2, and 3. And then you have the third category, the seniors, standards 4 and 5. So that is, of course, something very good. It's an encouragement for you to be, practicing your Arabic and so on. And of course, you will be listening. So what we're going to do, inshallah, for the next session is that we're going to have some practical examples from the Quran. We'll actually go into the Quran and read from any part of the Quran, see what we could make out, inshallah ta'ala. All right? And if perchance I had forgotten to mention any rules, simple rules of reading, while we're going through some of the verses of the Quran, if we were to come across any of them, then I will explain. But I think we have done the most important part of explaining the simple rules of reading Arabic script with vowels. Inshallah, as I have told you before, it's the shortest, the quickest, and also the easiest way of learning to read Arabic script. Only in 4 sessions, as you have seen, we have been able to read Arabic script. All right? Isn't that wonderful? Arabic actually is the easiest language to read. All right? It's probably the easiest. Not too many rules like the English language, where the shape of the sound of words spelled the same way, and then still it is different. Like we say food, all right? But if you have to pronounce the word cook, you just say cook. C-O-O-K, two O's, and we have cook short, but food, we don't say food, but we say food or mood, you understand? So we have a lot of problems with English language. And that's just one example out of tens and hundreds of them, different ways pronounce and come. Even I myself, sometimes I have difficulty in pronouncing many English words, all right, and because of the various rules and so on, but not so in the Arabic language, all right. So hopefully, inshallah, I will be here again for the next session for us to have some practical examples of some of what we have learned so far. All right, I want to thank you very much for viewing, and inshallah, I'll be here again. Jazakumullah khairan, and we'll leave the line open for you, inshallah. The line will be open for you if you want to call in and ask any questions. We will do that, inshallah ta'ala. Okay then, so take care until the next class. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ورسلا قد قصصناهم عليك من قبل ورسلا لم نقصصهم عليك.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one and the unique. He it is the one that we worship, and it is His blessings that we seek. He is the Lord of the oppressed and the one who answers the call of the weak. Today, inshallah ta'ala, we will actually be concluding our introductory series of lectures. And so after all of these lectures, this is basically part one. All of these lectures we've done is part one, the introduction to the stories of the prophets. And so inshallah ta'ala, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, from our next lesson, we will be jumping into the story of Adam alayhi salam. But we still have just a few more things to cover. And again, introductory, I mean, every time I start a series, I wish I could go into even more detail, but I feel that all of these series that I'm doing, I would say they are intermediate to advanced, that type of level, alhamdulillah. And it is enough of an introduction in the English language for you to have a good comprehension of this particular